Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about Diablo-like dungeon generator. In this video we're going to clean up and finish our spawn 4 ways system, and we're also going to clean up some errors I forgot to fix. I actually did not forget to fix them, but I wasn't aware of some errors, and we're going to fix them. And but before we dive right in, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry about the length of the previous video. 1 hour is quite long, but it's actually we actually just developed one feature, and it was quite hard to actually stop the video at any point. So with no further ado, let's dive right in. So we're going to open up our level generator, and then we're going to go in our class defaults. We're going to press the class defaults tab, and we can see that the function folder are kind of messing up. So we're going to fix that. We're going to go in our metrics folder, open up everything by holding shift while clicking the metrics button. And then if you go to our generic list style, we can see we have space between metrics and tiles. But if we go to our end tile list, we don't have space in here. That's when you drag and drop function in a category. It does not create a space between the bar and the category you created. And this results in us getting different categories like this. So we're just going to drag and drop the functions, the variables that have a space in their categories, and it's going to fix the bug. So we're going to do that real quick. I'm not going to take care of whether or not they actually need to be fixed. I'm just going to fix them all by just doing this. And we are also going to rename these variables. So this is the max reroll retry. This is the max step start retry. And this is the max this is the max end tile retry. We're going to hit compile, hit save, go back to our class defaults, and now we have our proper folders. But before we actually get back to our additional said 4-way function, we're just going to make the level generator bug. We're going to create a bug. So we don't want any force tile. And we want 3 tile amounts, and we want 5 minimum steps to start tile, and we're going to hit play, and it's going to bug. That's because we want 5 steps to start tile, but we only have 3 tile amounts, and we actually built a logic that prevents the dungeon from trying to reroll forever in an infinite loop. But I actually failed to build it properly. So if we see our temp rerolls in here, this is a local variable, and this should actually be a variable. So we're going to promote that to a variable. This is going to be current rerolls. And we're going to say is current rerolls inferior than max reroll retries, and we're also going to increment that variable. This is going to be a reference. And if current rerolls is greater than greater than max reroll, we are going to say that we reached our maximum amount of rerolls. So if I hit play, it's going to warn me. So I can just say I only want 1 minimum steps to start tile, and then if I hit play, it's going to spawn the dungeon properly. So this is fixing one issue. And while fixing this, I actually realized that our function that was spawning the four-way is actually working properly. So if I say I want a four-way, so I'm adding 1 and 3 to our force tile array map, and I'm saying I want four-way. If I say I want a four-way at 0% of the dungeon, it's never going to spawn it. It's never going to spawn it because 0% means the start tile, and we're never trying to add a force tile at 0%. But if I'm saying I want a four-way at 10%, and if I'm hitting play, sometimes it's working, and sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not. So I think we can make sure it works by just saying I don't want any additional tile. I don't want any minimum steps to start tile. I don't want any extra connections. I'm just going to say everything. I'm going to clean up the metrics in here just to make sure. And if I'm hitting play, it's not working. Okay, I remember how I actually checked how to make it work. So the forced tile magnitude, if I'm saying it's 100, it's going to always spawn the four-way. I'm going to remove the replacement tiles. We want to make sure our forced tile is spawning. So it's always spawning the four-way. And then if I'm saying I want two four-ways, actually, I cannot duplicate one. Okay, I'm just going to say I want two four-ways, and then I can say I want two four-ways at 9 and 10% of the dungeon. And it's going to spawn me two four-ways all the time. Despite the fact that I said I only want 3 tile amounts. But that's because I said you force the spawn of that. And I said you have a margin of error of 100%. So why is it not working when I'm saying 5%? That's because this tile is representing 30% of the dungeon. This one is representing 60%. This one 90%. And I'm saying I want this tile to be at 10%. So when we try to actually generate the layout and when we actually try to check for force tile, we are comparing, we are comparing the current percent of the dungeon to the percent we are looking for in our force tile, and it's never actually matching, since we are asking for 9 and 10%, and the first tile is giving us 30% and the second 60 and then 90. But if we say we have a margin of, so this name is not right. This is forced tile error margin. So this is the right name. And so the feature is actually working if we consider the fact that this variable allows us to kind of break the dungeon by saying we want the dungeon to spawn tiles despite the fact that it has too few tile amounts. But what we could be doing is considering that the force tile are actually spending the tile amounts, which will mean spawning such a dungeon will not be possible. And maybe that will give us an error. And the point of that is to better control our dungeon by just using this number instead of considering that a dungeon has a size of the tile amount plus whatever we specify in our force tile. What I mean by that is if I specify 7 tiles in here, but I specify 3 four-ways, I'm actually going to get something like 20 tiles in my dungeon. And if I'm looking at the variables of my dungeon and if I'm seeing seven tile amounts, I'm thinking, hey, this dungeon is quite short. But I have to check up the force tile to double check if the dungeon is short or not. So it's better if this variable is actually really reflecting how long the dungeon is. So we'll just try to implement that feature in the next video. But for now, we're just going to consider that the feature is working as of like this. So I hope you guys enjoy these 2 videos about forcing a 4-way, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.